Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I got some more lights for the Jeep. I know you're probably saying, where else can I possibly put lights on the MojitoJeep? Diode Dynamics has set us up with their most recent Jeep JL product that they just came out with. And this time, it's a light bar that mounts up here to the rear window hinges, where you can set it up to turn on the lights when you're putting the Jeep in reverse and backing up, so that you're lighting up your way. Probably gonna be a little better to see out of the backup camera at night, because as you probably know, if you've got the JL with a backup camera, it is hard to see at night sometimes from the back through the backup camera. So this, I'm looking forward to. I think it's gonna be a nice addition, making things safer and better, so I don't back into my mailbox, backing into the driveway at night. Now, I've been meaning to tackle this project for a while now. They actually sent it to me probably about a month ago, so I've been meaning to get it installed. Part of my question is whether this bracket that they sent to mount the light bar is gonna work with my hinge hoists for my lift, for taking the top off. So I'm hoping it's gonna work. It looks like it's gonna fit right up underneath there, and then it kind of wraps around the top of the roof. So I'm hoping this is gonna fit. The big question is gonna be whether or not the bolts underneath here are long enough to be able to bolt down the hinge hoist and this bracket for the light at the same time. So we're gonna do that. We'll wire it up and show you how things go. All right, so the first step for this project is that we need to get to the bolts for the hinge for the rear window. So you got to open up the back tailgate and then open up the back glass, and you will quickly see that right here we've got the bolts that hold in the rear glass on both sides. I don't know if you guys just noticed, but yes, we do have the dreaded rear defog wire has come loose here. So I got to get it in. I have not taken it into the dealer yet to have that addressed, but I've been hearing a lot of people are having that problem, and they're saying that this back glass is on back order. So who knows what'll happen with that, but I got to get on that. But anyway, so back to this project. We got to undo these 10mm bolts on either side. You're going to do one side at a time so that you can keep the glass supported, and then you're going to slide the bracket up underneath the bolts so that this part kind of wraps around the top of the top. And so that's what I'm gonna start with. I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts loosened up so I can slide this, or removed so that I can slide this in. So I'm gonna jump on that first here. Okay, so we're gonna take your 10mm socket and ratchet, and we're gonna remove both of these on one side. Obviously make sure you keep a hold on the window just to kind of keep it in place. As you can see, this red one here is our hinge hoist that we use to lift the top off. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get both brackets in at the same time. We shall see. So far they look like they're long enough. Oh, it's a pretty long bolt in there. You can see I can take this out. I'm going to pop that out of the way until I get the rest of this unbolted. All right, so unlike the hoist bracket, this one actually needs to go behind the hinge and get lined up. Okay, so I've got that behind there, and then I need to get the hinge bracket in here. Actually, what I can do is just start this. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Is I'm gonna start both bolts. Just kind of lightly get them started.
Oh yeah, because the red one has like notches.
And then the red one is notched, so I can just kind of push this in between here.
Nice.
Yep, and I think we're gonna be good to go. Yeah, it looks like it's sitting good up in there.
Up in there.
And this one is good, so we just gotta keep snugging them.
Well, that's awesome. You were a little nervous that they weren't gonna both fit, and they fit perfectly.
And the bolt the bolt is plenty long. Now these are I think these were longer bolts that came with the hinge bracket, so that may have helped. All right, and real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this. I want to make sure that the bolts aren't hitting or anything like that. So as I close it, you can look and watch. Yeah, no problem. Closes like normal.
Cool.
You can see the bracket sits up there just like that. And then I just got to do the one on this side so that we can bolt up the light bar. Okay, so again on the passenger side, just sliding the bracket in. Try to pinch it down and put the bolt back in and get them started. Okay, and since I got them both started, I can put my hoist bracket back in and then snug them both down. All right, so we got both hinge brackets in there. And we'll just double check and test fitment for this side. Yeah, everything looks good. All right, so the next step is to grab your 30-inch light bar, which is the same as the 2 light bars we've got in the front grille. I'm sure you've all seen it. Wiring's pretty much gonna be the same. For us, we got the auxiliary switches, so we're gonna wire it into those again. So like I said, pretty much the same as far as wiring goes. The only difference is we have to run it from the back here and get it up to the front where the power and the ground wires are for the switches. So let me open this up so we can get it kind of mounted in here and decide how we're gonna run the wires. Okay, so take your light bar, you're gonna just bolt it up there. Now you do have a decision to make. The way Diode Dynamics shows it is just like it sits with the wire harness on the passenger side running down, and that's the way that they show to wire it out. I did see that Ben Anton, who has his own channel and already did install one of these, he flipped it so that it came down on the driver's side, which is also where your other wires and plugs are for the top. So it kind of makes sense to put it over there so that when you unplug to remove the top, you're kind of unplugging everything at the same time. But I think I just like the way that the wire kind of comes out and runs down on this side like Diode shows, and then you'll be running the harness all the way down the same side. So I'm gonna go with that route for now and see how I like the way things work out. Okay, so all you need to do to bolt this up, you just gotta grab your 10mm bolt that's gonna thread into the end of the light bar here through the bracket. So Diode says to lightly snug them on either side. You will notice that the bracket flexes. Okay, so what I did was I had to just very lightly start one on one side, just ever so slightly, because you can see there's a pretty good gap here. And I have not tightened this down. I just lightly started this one, and I got this one started. You can see there's a gap, but what'll happen is as we tighten them in, it's gonna pull them together and tighten down on the light bar. So I'm gonna work it in slowly. Now what we need to do is focus on running the wire. You can see the way I did it is I've got it tucked down underneath here. And then what I'm gonna do is feed it around, and this is when you need to kind of bring the hatch up. You're gonna tuck it in here, which is one thing I'm noticing. So with Diode, they were able to really get it kind of wrapped in there nicely. Because of this bracket, it's too tight here if you want to come look on this side.
Yeah, it fits with the curvature of the Jeep, but we also have a bracket to take our roof off.
I loosened that up just to see.
Yeah, that looks great.
There we go.
Perfection.
And got it in there, so it didn't take much to get it around the red top bracket. So okay, so then like I started showing, this just runs down in through here, and then there's just enough wire to get this through this little notch in the rubber and into the inside. So Diode does include some mounts here, so let me grab those. So supplied in the kit, they do give you a bunch of zip ties, which is nice. And then they give you these, the 3M tape to go with these plastic wire looms that will hold the wiring. So you can just kind of choose. It looks like they give you 5 of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the 3M piece, apply it to the back of one of these clips. Okay. So that's on there, applied to the clip. And then I'm going to peel off the little red backing here, which is going to allow it to stick to the Jeep itself. All right, so with the backing peeled off of this, what I'm going to do is actually place it on the wire. And I want it kind of up in the corner here. So I press that down in there. And then I'm going to take the second one, I'm going to put it in the corner down here. And then I'm going to pull the wire. Make sure I got it as nice and tight as I can, so I've got as much slack as I can get coming into the Jeep here. And then let's just see how this... So that still closes and it doesn't affect the wire because it's coming through over here. And close the hatch just to check clearance and everything. You can see this still seals, the gasket and everything still seals here just fine. For right now, I'm going to snug this down since it is still moving a little bit. Get it nice and tight in place. And then I think what's going to have to happen, we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to come back probably tomorrow and finish running the wire to the switch so that we can get it lit up. All right, we're back, day 2. We are going to get started on running the wires. What I'm going to do is I like to personally pop the doors and the T-top off on the side I'm working. I think it's a lot easier, it lets a lot more light in, just gives me more room to work. So I'm gonna pop those off real quick and then we run the wiring. Okay, so Diode Dynamics has provided this extension wire basically that plugs into the plug that we ran right inside here. And so what I'm trying to do is just figure out what the best route is to run it, because I do need to run it all the way up along here, up underneath the passenger footwell. That's where those auxiliary switch wires are. I just gotta get it up there so I can decide which switch I'm going to wire it to. So for now, I am trying to figure out the best route. The hardest part seems to be back here, trying to figure out where to go with it. Once I get it up to the rear seats here, then it's pretty smooth sailing, just kind of tucking it in the door sills. I think what's going to be the best route is to kind of just tuck this in. All along here, there's a gap below the, let me grab my trim tool. Got my little matte CC trim tool kit. And I think it's going to be the easiest to just kind of push it in all along here.
That's pushing it nicely.
Yeah.
I think we were really concerned about it, but it's going in smoothly.
I was having a hard time figuring out where to run this back here because it looked kind of tight, but I didn't realize that there was actually like a gap here. So I think I can get it tucked in here real nice. And then once I get up past the subwoofer here, it's super easy. Okay, so now I've got the wire kind of tucked all the way up here. I'm up to this carpet point. I just need to tuck it behind this carpet piece. It's going to get tucked in and fed down into this panel here, and from there I'll just keep working my way all the way to the front. I'm a ghost.
It's not so bad.
All right, so I pulled this out a little bit. The wire's kind of going through here pretty easily, and then just tucking it in behind the carpet. Just keep working it down and around. So it's super easy to just kind of feed this along the trim as you go. Just kind of tuck it nicely.
Pull up the floor mat a little so we can see what you're doing.
You see, I'm just kind of tucking it as I go here.
Is it tucking nicely?
Mm-hmm. So far, I got a tight spot here, but it's going. So yeah, you can see I'm just working it little by little here.
Work it, work it.
Certain areas are looser than others, and then it gets tight and loose again, so you just kind of keep working it till you get it in.
And use your mat.
And like I said, you get these little tools that can help push it under. I always link these in the description. It's a super nice kit from Matt CC that you can get on Amazon for like 18 bucks. So,
and we've used them a lot.
Yeah, like pretty much every project.
Yeah, I mean there's always a use for them, and they're real durable.
The spot's tight. It'll go, but
I'm getting tired of it.
I think the viewers want to see that it'll go. I think you're faking us out, James.
You're not trusting me?
I don't believe you.
All right, look at that.
Oh, really? You're too tired for that?
Sometimes you need a little different perspective, so I came from this end, pulled up, and it went in nice and easy.
Sometimes you need to step away for 20 seconds.
Yep.
Not even, 2.
Sometimes you need to step away for summer shandy time. Sponsor me.
Okay, so Diode always includes this heavy-duty switched harness that is, if you don't have switches in your vehicle, it comes with everything you need to easily wire up to a switch. Now, because we have the auxiliary switches, we don't need this. Usually Diode gives me a separate harness that's good for wiring directly to the auxiliary switches. This time I did not get that in my kit. They might have forgotten that I have the auxiliary switches. So what I'm going to do is, all I really need is this extension here, because the extension piece they give you to run to there actually ran out here. So you can see this is the end of it, which isn't quite enough to get me up into here. So what I'm going to do is this part that plugs in. So this here is designed to plug into this. And then if you didn't have the auxiliary switches, you've got your relay, your power and your ground with the fuse, and then this is where you would run and mount your switch wherever you want it. Since I don't need all that, I am actually just going to cut this off right here, which is going to leave me with just a power and a ground. So I'm going to slice it here, and then I'll have all this excess, and all I need to do is get into here to wire it up. Of course, I grabbed the crappiest cutters ever.
Extreme close-up.
All right, so I'm ditching this whole relay thing because, again, I've got the factory auxiliary switches. All this is a black sheeting over the ground and your power wire. The ground is just right in here. See this little wire here?
Yep.
I've got the black one running in there from when we wired in these LED lights underneath. I just went to a ground in here. So I'll probably use that same ground, and then I'll show you in just a minute here when I get up underneath there where I'm gonna connect this red wire to one of the wires underneath there, and then that'll power it right to the switch. Okay, so up underneath the passenger footwell here, I need to decide which wire I am connecting my red power wire to. So I wanted to go to auxiliary switch number 2 on the bank here, which is gonna be this, see this green one? See it right here, green with a pink stripe. So I'm gonna use that one to wire it to get power to it. So you can see this other wire I've got coming off of here, that's just for these Diode Dynamics LEDs underneath. But yeah, so I'm just gonna connect using a butt connector to this green and pink one. And then I just gotta ground it and I can test everything. I actually ended up removing this whole panel, can you see? Which will help push the wire through, but also what it did was it gave me access to a handful of good grounds here. So you can see this is my ground wire from when we did the LED lighting underneath, and then this is my new ground wire. I went to the same one. So it definitely helps to pop this whole trim piece off. It is a little tricky because, as you can see here, this stuff kind of has some clips, and then there is one bolt with a nut on it that goes through here. All right, so I'm just gonna show you when you put this back in why it's a little bit tricky, how it goes, or how it comes off. First off, you've got the plug for the doors. It has to go on the outside of it. Okay, so now that I've got it kind of back in place, you'll notice number one is there is a there's going to be a screw that goes on here, which actually it's a nut that goes on this, and then there's a handful of clips, and then this wiring harness for the doors kind of just pushes back in there. So there's a handful of things you just need to make sure you get clipped back down.
Can you point to that nut and those clips again now that I'm closer zoomed?
Yeah, so you got this nut here is going to go on this one bolt here. I should mention, so I completely removed this cover, which is the cover for when you take the doors off, you pop this panel off. All I had to do was give a little tug on this little thing and it let it release. So I took that to get it out of the way, and then just started popping clips on these along the trim here, and it just kind of works itself in. And then you got the nut. This piece here just kind of pushes back on, and then you get some other little push clips that just kind of popped out, and so just working them back in until they all get clipped in and until you're kind of back nice and tidy. Now I do have some excess wire. I'm going to pull it up under there nice and tight and kind of wire tie it out of the way for now.
You want to keep that access just in case until you know what you're doing with it, right?
Yeah, in case just so I know what I'm doing with the extra wire, or if in case I decide to change how I wire it or do something differently later. So
it's nice to have slack.
Right, so I can always cut it off and put new connectors on. So for now, I think I'm about good. This, oh, I can show you here this panel. Like I said, this little piece just pulled out. All it does is push back in the little hole here. Just a little rubber thing. And kind of clips back in, kind of pull it through, and then just kind of clips in there,
and then we'll clean that spot.
Literally, yeah,
it's making me insane.
Yeah, I'll clean this. I just got to run this up in there and tuck it away. But for now, let's test things. Oh, and you may have noticed I took the glove box out. Didn't need to do that. I was checking for something else, so I popped it out of the way, but disregard that. That's not important.
I'm glad you did, though, because it's a little dusty from off-roading.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the rag.
All right, so we just need to, the last thing we need to do is we want to figure out how to kind of clean this up a little better back here. The way it kind of sticks in. There isn't a lot of slack here to really move this, but we might be able to tie it down here somewhere, and you want it to be accessible so you can quickly disconnect this when you take the top off. So got to figure out a little something for that, but otherwise, as you can see, all the rest of the wiring is clean. All right, so I dimmed the lights here in the garage. I'm going to go ahead and flip the switch on so we can see what it looks like.
That's bright.
So you can see, I don't know if it's blinding the camera there, but you can see that's pretty darn bright. It's lighting up the whole garage here pretty well. So this is going to make a huge difference, I think, at night when you're backing up. You put your vehicle in reverse with that light and you're backing up. And yeah, you're making me look into the light now, so I'm blinded. Let me step over here.
Showing the effect.
So yeah,
right, we could go back.
You can see how bright it is. What we should probably do is take it outside so we can actually see what the backup camera looks like when we put it in reverse and see how much brighter it gets.
All right, let's do that.
So yeah, we just went for a little ride around the block because we wanted to try backing into the driveway, because our driveway is a little challenging, especially at night. So put it in reverse, backup camera comes on, you can see it's not very bright there.
But
it is wrong button. If I hit the auxiliary 2, now look at that.
Yeah.
So for backing up at night, look at how bright that light is. Clear as day on the backup camera.
Looks better, yeah.
In person than on the camera?
On the camera, there's a glare. Where you guys are seeing that glare, it does not show up like that on the backup camera. It's actually very clear here. So all this glare right here is just really the driveway, the truck, and the grass lit up. It's not what you're seeing, so.
All right, so thanks for watching yet another video. Probably getting tired of seeing me put more and more lights on this thing, but I can't help that Diode Dynamics keeps coming out with cool, different places to put lights and some really nice light bars. For those of you that haven't seen, obviously we got this reverse light bar, we got the 2 in the grill, we got the cowl light bars, we got the Diode Dynamics under seat lighting, the accent lighting, and in the grill. So some cool stuff. Also, between day 1 when we mounted the light bar and day 2 when we jumped in here to actually wire this thing up, we hit 6,000 subscribers. So Big thank you to all of you that have been watching our videos. The how long does it take to strip the Jeep video just keeps exploding. It's over 250,000 views now. So we appreciate everything, appreciate the support. We also have a huge surprise coming very soon. Some of you may have seen,
Spirit fingers.
some of you may have seen that this vehicle has been listed for
You
sale.
gotta call her Taylor Rose. Don't act like she's a stepchild now.
Trying to like,
Poor Taylor Rose.
I don't want tears. But Taylor Rose is finally, it's time for her to go. So we have listed it for sale. Something new is on the horizon, so
Woohoo!
stay tuned. But yeah, this is gonna wrap it up. Make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Comment below, what do you think of this one? Would you like it? Would you use it for backing up? You think it would be good for on the trails? And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We should come up with a new giveaway soon, so we should do that soon too. Let's think of something for that. But thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.
Peace.